So the first thing we want to do is get to work on a crispy coating. Now, I like to pre-toast my crispy coating because then it makes sure that it's going to be golden brown when it comes out of the oven. I'm using panko, and I love panko, but it doesn't go as golden as I want it to if I just stick it in the oven. So I like toasting it in a pan first. So I've got a pan here over about medium heat, and I'm going to go in with some butter. Now, you want to use about a tablespoon of butter per cup of panko. I'm going to do probably about 2 cups of panko, so 2 tablespoons of butter is going right on in. Let that melt down. Anytime you're making a recipe and it starts with this, you know it's gonna be delicious. So I'm very excited. All right, into there I'm going in with that panko. Now, panko is just Japanese breadcrumbs. It's kind of like the texture of when you get tempura and those little bits that are left in the bottom of the box. That's what you're looking for. It's really crunchy. It doesn't have a ton of flavor though. So by toasting it up, it gives you golden brown flavor. It makes it taste absolutely amazing. So 2 cups are going in. If you're doing more, we're only doing 2 chicken breasts today, so I'm doing 2 cups. If you're doing more, I'd probably double this. Season that up with some salt. Add in a little bit of pepper as well. And if you have a very picky eater at home, maybe you got a Jonah, but I feel like Jonah's not a picky eater. He was just keeping me humble. You can leave this just with salt. You can leave it just with salt and pepper, but you can also amp it up a little bit. Now, I'm gonna amp mine up a bit with some garlic powder. Garlic powder is great because it gives the taste of roasted cooked garlic without having to do anything. You just open a jar, pop it in, gonna taste garlicky. So I'm gonna go in with just about, I'm gonna say half a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon. Add that on top. Then I'm gonna go in with some dry Italian seasoning. If you want, you could do this with Tex-Mex seasoning. You could do this with really anything you've got hanging around, just to give you extra flavor. So I'm gonna add that right on in. Again, maybe about a teaspoon of that. Then I'm just gonna give that a stir to combine, and I want that to toast up. That's gonna get golden brown and delicious. As that butter melts, it's gonna coat everything. And again, you're just looking for toast, because in my opinion, bread, amazing. Toast, even better. So why not toast it up? Give you that golden brown. All right, that is looking beautiful. That's gonna do its thing. While that starts to toast, I'm gonna get to work on the wet ingredients for these chicken tenders. Anytime you're trying to stick something dry onto a piece of meat or something that isn't maybe sticky, you want to give it something to stick onto. So typically what you do is you'll do a little dredge of some flour, then you'll do a little batter of egg, then pop it into those crunch. But I've switched this up a little bit, and this is what I do on those crispy salmon fillets as well. As opposed to having to do that flour thing, what I've done is I've created this, what I'm calling food gloop. And it's basically a mixture of eggs and mayonnaise. It makes it really sticky, so a lot of those breadcrumbs are gonna stick on. So when you're making your food gloop, trademark Mary Berg, you want an egg per 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. So I'm gonna do 2 eggs in here. And I'm gonna add in half a cup of mayonnaise. That's gonna give you a really nice texture and consistency. It kind of is gloopy. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going in, that's probably about a 1/4 cup. That's another 1/4 cup right there. Give that a good whisk together, just with a fork or whatever. And you're gonna see this kind of turns into full gluey looking. Doesn't look super appetizing, but this is going to be perfect. The thing I love about this as well is that mayonnaise has egg in it. It also has some seasoning, also has some oil, so it's gonna help with golden brown. I kind of stole this idea from, my brother's that type of guy who makes grilled cheese with mayonnaise on the outside as opposed to butter. Always spreadable, always good to go. All right, that's looking great. Now, if you want to, you can season this up. I'm going in with a little bit of Dijon mustard. If your kids don't love Dijon, feel free to leave it out, but I feel like they won't taste it because you can't really see it. I feel like a lot of kids are like, I can see it, so I don't like it. My mom's like that with dill. If I chop it fine enough, she'll eat it. But if she can see it, she doesn't want anything to do with it. All right, that is looking beautiful, nice and gloopy. Now let's check on those breadcrumbs. Give them a little bit of a toss. They're getting a little golden. See that color coming through? That's what we're looking for. Now, what I would do is I would keep actually toasting this to get it a little more golden brown, but we're gonna move forward. So just taking that off the heat, I'm gonna transfer this into another shallow dish, something like a pie plate or a little shallow plate. Now, what you wanna do if you were making this in advance and popping it in the freezer is you want those breadcrumbs to cool to room temperature because you don't wanna put raw chicken into something warm and then cool it down. But this is gonna be beautiful because we're gonna cook these right away. So now we're gonna chat chicken. When you're doing chicken tenders, you're not using chicken thighs, you're not using anything like that. You're using chicken breasts. And that's because there is actually a thing on the chicken breast that's called a tender. So you get your normal chicken breast, boneless, skinless, flip it over, and you know this little kind of thing here, that is a chicken tender. So that's a really tender, it's almost like the tenderloin of pork, but it's for the chicken. So what you wanna do is just cut that off. And that, my friends, is your first chicken tender. Fantastic. Now get the rest of that chicken breast, cut that into equal-ish strips. So this one's a big guy, so I'm gonna do this into 4. And then what you wanna do is you want to bread these in that beautiful mixture that we made. So grab your chicken, pop it into that food gloop, make sure it sticks really well, and it coats so beautifully. Then we're gonna go straight into this crispy breadcrumb. Give it a good press, because you want it to really kind of hold on there. If you wanted to do this kind of chick parm style, you could put some Parmesan cheese in here too. Serve it up with tomato sauce, that would be delicious. But just transfer that right onto a parchment-lined sheet pan. Now, the parchment is here because it helps for cooking, helps for easy cleanup, but this is the portion where, with this recipe, you can prep this up to this point, you can make this tonight for dinner, pop it in the oven, or you can stick this in the freezer. Just cover this pan with a little bit of plastic wrap, pop it in the freezer just until those chicken pieces freeze solid. Then you want to transfer those into a bag, just a zip-top bag. Those will last in your freezer for 3 months. Basically like you're making your own homemade chicken tenders that you buy at the grocery store. You know what went into them though. They're cheaper to make because you're not paying for someone else to do it. Takes a little bit of time. Put an episode of The Good Stuff on. Make some chicken tenders. What a delight. All right, I'm gonna transfer these onto the back counter, give my hands a little bit of a wash. So what you would wanna do if you did freeze these is you wanna take them out, pop them onto a sheet pan, and if they were frozen, you wanna bake those at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. So super easy if you're a busy mom like Davida and you just don't have time at the end of the day. But if you are cooking these from fresh, they go into a 400-degree oven, and those need about 15-ish minutes, depending on the size of those chicken tenders. So I'm gonna let those do their thing, and I'm gonna get to work on a sauce, because I love a sauce, right? I've always loved a sauce. Now, when a lot of kids I feel like a plum sauce, feel free to serve that up with these, but we're gonna do something that sounds really fancy and is really simple to make. It's called a Dijonnaise. I know, can you guess what is in it? It is Dijon and mayonnaise. So super simple to put together. Basically, I like to do mine at a ratio of about 2 parts mayonnaise to 1 part Dijon. So I'm going in with about ½ cup of that mayo. Beautiful, beautiful. Then I'm gonna go in with about ¼ cup of some Dijon. And I feel like ever since I was a kid, I always loved honey mustard, that sweet, kind of tangy. So I'm also gonna go in with a little bit of honey. Just a few tablespoons go right on in. This is great. Here on The Good Stuff, my honey is runny. I don't know what happens at home. It all turns solid immediately. If anyone has any tips, write me, because I don't know what's going on. Maybe someone in the audience does, I don't know. All right, a little bit of honey in there. Then I'm gonna go in with some smoked paprika, just for some extra flavor. But again, you can do this to whatever your taste is at home. I'm gonna also add in a little bit of, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna do lemon juice today. We're gonna leave it out. But you can put lemon juice in here, you can put more seasoning, you can put some herbs, but this is such a tasty sauce. It's sweet, it's a little bit tangy, it comes together in no time, and then you get to pretend you're fancy and French. And you just made Dijonnaise. Which honestly is one of my favorite portmanteaus, very fun to say. So I'm gonna transfer that right on into a little serving dish. And then I'm gonna go grab those chicken fingers, because what an absolute delight. This makes me feel like a kid again. Just get like freezer French fries, put them with this. You got a great dinner. If you're my mom, a little crudité with some ranch dressing. Ooh, what a delight. All right, look at those. Don't they look beautiful? They are crispy, they are golden brown. These are chicken tenders for the ages, an absolute delight. Super easy, again, to make ahead. You can make them tonight. They are great. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of The Good Stuff.